The garden is a mess, and I have to fix some of it today. I have basil overgrown everywhere, tomatoes that haven't been picked. I can't even get in that bed over there. Yep, it's time to work on the garden. So the plan is to get as much as I can done before the sun starts to blaze down. And I need some company, so if you don't mind chit-chatting with me. Hey, say hi to the shadow. Hi, shadow. I already started out here. I have some leaves that are, see that? See if I can get, there you go, powdery mildew. It was off of my zinnias over here. Let me show you the zinnias. They've been doing pretty well. So I planted them by the wall over there, and a lot of them fell. So that's why you can see some of them look like they're coming up from here. Actually, this flower here, it all came from back there, but it now looks like it's spread all through the garden. Isn't that pretty? But the zinnia, this is the polar bear zinnia. It's very pretty, but they're all taking on some powdery mildew now. So I'm going to pick off some of the leaves and at some point probably spray them with a hydrogen peroxide spray, see if that will help with the powdery mildew. But first I want to get to the basil because all my basil has flowered. The problem is every time I come out here, there's a bee. Can you see this one here? Are you even alive? I'm not sure this bee is still with us. But there's always a bee or two or six buzzing around. So I let them have their way and then I don't prune the basil. But today we're going to get to it. Today we're going to prune some basil. And one bowl of basil later, this is how it looks. But I couldn't get to all of it because that bee simply wouldn't fly away. So I'll come back to it. But not to fear, I have more basil to cut here. And I'm trying to go as fast as I can because once it gets hot, your girl is going to run inside. I do not do the heat, and that's funny for a gardener to say, but I'm not a summer girl. So one trick to getting things done in your garden is just to do them in little spurts. So I'm going to spend as little time as I can out here. As soon as it gets hot, I'm running inside, getting hydrated, and waiting out for another dip in the temperature. And just like that, it's all pruned up. Now this here is the lime basil and it smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. The leaves still look really good. The one here at the bottom is the spicy glow basil and it has seen better days. So most of the prunings off of this, the leaves were dry and not what I want to save, so I just threw them back into the container here, and they will eventually break down and form soil. Before they break down, they'll act as mulch for the surface of the soil. So if you ever pick something off of your garden, leaves or flowers or things you're not going to use to eat or to use in your house, you can just put them back in the container or on the ground like a chop and drop, and that will help to feed your soil. Recycle, people. I also have loads and loads of weeds I need to pull, like this here. I mean, when you have your weeds growing seeds, look how tall this thing is. Like it could be an actual plant in my garden. Look at that. Taller than my jalapenos. And they're forming seeds. That's enough. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to have to pull this, and there's some in the back there. Of course, more basil everywhere that needs to be pruned. And this garden does need to be fertilized. Now look at this other basil. I mean, it's flowering, but look at her. She's so pretty. This is the Siam Queen Thai basil. Very gorgeous, but I need to cut her down a bit. She's too much. Now, let me show you the Queen Mama Jama of the basils, okay? Look, let me just walk in here because y'all need to see this. I haven't been able to get through this bed in weeks. Can you see this? This is the blue spice basil, and I hope you guys can see the bees. This is part of the reason why I have been able to prune it, because every time I come here, it's a whole, look at them, swarm of bees just everywhere. There, I can count 5 or 6 just here. And this basil extends all the way across this bed, but I do have to chop it down because look, it's the pathway. This is the pathway. Okay, let me back up so you can see a normal pathway. You see this pathway? I can walk through it. Do you see this pathway? There's nobody can walk through this. Okay, so I need to make way for my body to go through this so I can tie up these tomatoes that are just free falling here. Do you see this? I need to clean this up. Oh my goodness. And here's my first garden mishap. This is a pequeño pepper that I mistakenly chopped off. See here? Because I was trying to cut down the basil, and this pequeño pepper, poor pepper, had been completely covered. I forgot I planted the pepper here, and I just took off 2 big branches of it with all the flowers and the fruit on it. That's a waste. But yeah, see why you should keep your basil pruned? Keep your basil pruned. Yeah, these little choppers are not going to do the job. I'm going to go in and get the big boys. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now that's a lot of basil. Halfway done. I can see a path emerging. And while the bees might not be too pleased with my choices today, I think I made the right one. I can finally see a path through. Maybe I can get to tying up these tomatoes and harvesting some of these peppers and eggplants over here. And now it's time to tackle the tomatoes. Now, this, as you can see, the last time I tied them up was up here, and it has since grown down all the way back to the ground. So I need to pull it up as much as possible and put it back on the trellis where it belongs. Right, so the path is cleared. The tomatoes have been put up. Can you see them? See, 2 seconds ago it looked like I had no tomato plants, but look. And I'll get around to this one. This is the cherry tomato one. I'll get around to you later, baby. But what a difference this made. I feel so good now that I've done this. I've been avoiding it for almost a month, but now that I've cleared it up, I can see myself spending a little bit more time here. Alright, so more work to be done. But before I do that, I do believe it's time for a break. I need to go get some water and hydrate. It's hot, I'm tired, I'm thirsty. Take breaks when you need to. The garden will be there when you get back. Okay, back at it. It's noisy, the neighbors are cutting the grass, but time to get this compost, kitchen scraps, into the compost areas. Alright, I made a video earlier showing this compost area, and I'll link it at the end of the video, but it's all broken down. This is just some basil from today I cut, but all the stuff I put in here, the kitchen scraps, they're all gone. Everything's gone, and all you have left here is some rich loamy soil, and I can see some earthworms in there. It's a little shaded from the basil, but there are lots of earthworms in there. So I'm going to refill it with these kitchen scraps from my kitchen, obviously. And in a couple of weeks, it will break down as well and feed my soil. Not a bad process. So 1 bag of scraps fit in here, and I have some basil cuttings from the cleanup earlier. So I'm just going to throw that on top of it and cover it back up with this bucket. That's all I do here. And I have another bucket system that's not in ground that I can put the other kitchen scraps in. So there you go, all done. Okay, so I've been pretty busy, as you can see. I've taken down most of this blue spice basil. The problem is these bees won't let me be. They're still, ooh, look at them. They're just everywhere. But they're actually fighting over these basil plants. Even the ones I've cut off, they're still going there and going after the flowers. So I'm going to have to give them their space and let them do what they need to do, because they're not letting me cut these basils down. I got the other ones down without much problem, but the bees, like I said, I don't think I've seen any other basil that the bees love like this blue spice basil. So if you are looking for a pollinator plant for your garden, blue spice basil it is. Have never tasted it, do not like the smell of it. It has a, I don't know if it's a licorice smell, but I just know I do not want to put this in my mouth. I don't want to taste it, but the bees love it. So I've cut this down, And I've trimmed, I mean, look over there. You see that over there? That's blue spice basil. I've taken a lot of them to the compost bin. It's everywhere. And next step is to try to get this part under control. Now I've pushed back. Let me explain what happened. So this bed here was attacked by wind. We had really high winds that blew all the plants kind of that way. I was able to restake the, I almost said basil, to restake the zinnia plants and pull them back up. But as you can see, everything else is leaning to the side. See? This one just popped back up. So I'm trying to push these roselle plants behind this metal trellis here. See if I can keep them upright this way, but they just popped back up. I have some tomatoes here that were hidden under the roselle, and I'm going to continue my Florida weave once I get these roselle plants up. So I'm going to have to figure a way to keep them up and out of the way. These are the tools I think I'm going to be using. That's my tomato twine, and then I have some stakes that I'm going to use to hopefully get some of these plants a little bit more upright. Let me show you. Like, look at this container here. It is all the way fallen over, and I tried to pull it up, but these roselle plants are sturdy and they are not going to be coming up. So I'm probably going to move this eggplant and try to get it situated, and then work from the other side to get the roselles up. It's still pretty. Look at her. And this is as far as I've gotten. This is my Florida weave. That's as good as it's going to get. And I just need to take off some of these leaves because I couldn't even see these before. They were all fallen over. But there are a lot of diseased leaves, so after I clean up a little bit, I should be able to do my hydrogen peroxide spray when I have a second, to get some of these blighted leaves treated. But it's looking so much better. I couldn't really walk through this area either because of all the falling over plants, but now I can see them. I can get to them, I can treat them, and it doesn't look as crazy. Now looking here, this was all just tomatoes and roselle and everything mixed together. I couldn't see what I was doing. Now I can see I actually have some eggplant I need to pick. I didn't even know there were still tomatoes forming on these plants here. The roselle is crazy in here. I haven't even picked any of it, but look at the blossom. Roselle blossom. And let me walk you over to show you the eggplant that I did not even realize was doing anything, and all of the eggplants have ripened. See this? You're not supposed to leave them on until they look like tomatoes. So I've got to get these off, but I didn't even realize there were anything on here. Look at this. Does anyone know what this is? Let me show you. If you know what it is, leave me a comment. It's some kind of bug that laid eggs and it's now devouring my plants, but I don't know what this is, what baby this is. I'm going to take the leaf off because that's way too many bugs for me to deal with there. And I'm just going to get that leaf out of my garden and step on it. Bye bye babies. Yeah, so oh wait, look, more basil. I have cut so much basil today, or pruned so much basil today, because I just let them go. People, keep your basil pruned. How hard is it? I'm talking to myself, as you can obviously tell. Prune your basil. There. Happier. But yeah, I have cleaned this bed up a little bit, and I can see the plants and get to them. It's just awesome. I'm going to take off some of these heads of the zinnia so they can make more flowers. These ones are spent. And as you can see, these are bent over because they were leaning to the side, but they will start to look for the sun and look up again. Always a butterfly in this garden, always. Plant zinnias if you love to see butterflies just fluttering around in your garden. They just love zinnias. Hi, baby. So thank you for hanging out with me as I cleaned up my garden. I hope you learned something from it. Like the video if you liked the video. And if you need some information about how to get a compost area just like this one I showed you earlier, you can watch this next video. Until next time, may you always find joy in your garden and your life. Bye, garden friend. Watch the video.